No, I'm not Michael. Michael's out of town this morning, and several months ago, he and I were talking, and he said, there is a lot of folks in the congregation that know we have a benevolence work, but what is it? What did they do over there? I think it's across the street over here, and there's a little yellow building over there. I think that's where they are. But they really don't understand what you do over there. Somebody needs to stand up and tell them. I said, okay, I'm ready. When? And he said, well, what about the 13th of October? So it is the 13th of October, and I am here. So we're going to talk about this morning the benevolence program. Probably be a little bit different lesson than you're used to, but I think it's one that's necessary and that we all are on the same page about what we're doing here. Benevolence is not just a word. It's a work that we do. And it is a work that is very, very important. It is not just something that someone set up one day and said, we need to help somebody. The text this morning comes from Matthew 25, verse 34 through 40. I'll be reading from the New King James Version. Then the king will say to those on his right hand, come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food, and I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. Then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry? And when did we feed you? Or thirsty, and give you drink? When did we see you a stranger, and take you in, or naked, and clothe you? Or when did we see you sick, or in prison, and come to you? And the king will answer and say to them, assuredly I say to you, inasmuch as you did it to one of the least of these, my brethren, you did it to me. Now the church here at South Main is involved in every area that we have just discussed in these scriptures here. We feed the hungry. We see to the need for temporary housing. We provide clothing to those in need. We visit the sick. We see to the needs of those in prison. Now, right now, the prison ministry is kind of in a holding pattern because the CCA unit that we visited and worked with over in Mineral Wells has closed. But there is another CCA unit over in Jacksboro. And Larry Rawle has already been in contact with those people about moving the work to that area. So we're busy at work in all of the areas that Christ has just talked about. Now this morning I want to narrow it down to just a few that we're doing here in the work that I'm involved with here. The history of the work here at South Main can only be traced back just a few years. And I have to believe that the church beginning in 1857, that people were doing benevolence as far back as then, that were helping others. We don't have a history of that. But I have to believe that there were those doing it. Some 30 years ago, in the 1980s, Brother George Porterfield started a program that we are working with today. Following him was Harold Brinkley, then Art Dean, Jim Goolsby, and for the last 2 years or so, I've been working in that area. Each of these men have moved this program just a little further along, doing a little more here and a little more there. This program started in a little room back behind the baptistry here in the old part of the building. From there, it moved over to the fellowship hall, and from there to the savings and loan building where they had 2 little rooms over there. Then they moved to Waller House. And since January of this year, we've been using the Lockwood building. It's about 3,500 square feet of clothing and food. You can't hardly see that. The little Lockwood building is that one in front of the old building there. Now, the name Neighbors Helping Neighbors, this is on the front of our window. We were real fortunate. We have a man in the congregation that asked me, he said, "You have this big plate glass window. What do you want on it?" So we sat down and we came up with this, Neighbors Helping Neighbors, South Main Church of Christ Benevolence Center, with our hours. And he said, "Is that the only door or window you want to put that on?" I said, "Well, we've got a door on the side. We need it over there. We have one on the other side. We'd like to have some." He did it. No charge to the congregation. He said, "This is part of my work. I'll provide this to you." Neighbors Helping Neighbors comes from Luke 29, although it doesn't really say that. There was a lawyer that was talking to Jesus, and he asked him, "What should I do to be saved? Or how shall I receive eternal life?" And he said, well, anyhow, he talked about serving God with his heart, his spirit, and his whole life, and honoring God first, then his neighbor as himself. His question to Christ was just, who is my neighbor? And this is where we have the story of the Good Samaritan. How two holy men, one a Levite, one a priest, came down, passed by the man who had fallen among thieves. Have you ever seen anybody on the road that was hurt and you just drove on by without stopping? I can't do that. I have to stop, unless they're being attended to by other people already. But a man came by and stopped, one that wasn't even a Jew, he was a Samaritan. And he took care of this man. He was neighbor to him. And Christ asked this lawyer, said, "Who was neighbor to the one who fell among thieves?" And he said, "Him who showed mercy." And Christ said, "Go and do likewise." That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to go and do likewise and take care of those in need. Now, I want to show you a few pictures here of our workers. You'll recognize some of these folks. I don't have pictures of everybody involved in this program because there's so many. This is Teresa. She's working with one of the clients that come in and visit us. And next, you'll see Karen, Margie, Brinkley, Sharon. Now, Sharon is not even a member here. She is a member at North Main Church of Christ. She comes down here and puts in anywhere from 30 to 40 hours a week sorting clothes. By herself. She'll be in here at 7 o'clock in the morning and she'll leave in the afternoon. She's doing what she feels like she needs to do. She has others, of course, from here that help her, but this is just somebody that from outside our congregation that wants to get involved. Next, this is the back of Sam. Good looking back, Sam. And of course, Jimmy and Ronnie. They're loading food over at the food bank in Fort Worth. The next slide is Paula and Amelia. Paula is another lady who is a recent convert, so about a year or so. She puts in 30 to 40 hours in her kids' room. If you've not seen the kids' room, you need to get over there and see it. Most of the clothes that she has in that kids' room still have the price tags on them, still have the name tags on them. They're new clothes that she has gotten out and found and brought them into the benevolence building over there to be handed out. See, we don't, the clothing part of this, we pay nothing for. We have so much coming in, we have to take it to other people that they can give out. We take it to Manor House and other places that can use these. Next, now you don't have to be young to be here, to work here. EH back there helps Betty and I on our daily, our monthly deal. And you'll see in front of him there's a lot of different types of meat. He takes care of the meat, handing that out to the folks that come through. And he stays busy for about 3 hours once a month doing this. Next is a picture of the pantry. And that's Betty. Those are 3 of the clients that came in and get food. We've got it set up now, instead of just saying, here's a sack of groceries, go eat this, they can now come in and shop, so to speak, and pick out the food that their family will eat or the food that they need. We have produce, fresh produce, meat, canned goods, grocery items. All of this is provided by the congregation here. Now, who are we serving? Galatians 10:6 says, therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all, especially those of the household of faith. We serve everyone that comes through our door. Some people come for the first time. They do not know exactly what kind of documentation that we need. There are certain rules we have to, little hoops we have to jump for because we're getting USDA food commodities. And in a minute you'll understand why we want to do that. So just because they don't have the proper documentation, we're not going to prevent them from getting food or from getting clothing. We will handle it on what we refer to as an emergency trip or emergency visit. All we want is their name and address. The next time they come in, they know then what information they need to bring with them, and we can properly document their visit. So we turn no one away on their first visit. The clothing area is set up like a market or a store, clothing store. Everything's sorted out. The kids' room. This is another one of Paula and her able helper back there. The other side in the pantry is set up like a small little grocery store. Everything they need is right there. Y'all may not know this young man that's standing there beside Jimmy. You see Jimmy over there working. And this young man is a young Marine, one in our unit here in Springtown. And they have to put in so many hours of community service to get promoted to their next rank. So when he found out that I was involved with the pantry, he says, what can I do to help you over there at the pantry? So for 6 weeks this summer, he came in and went with us down to get groceries, unloaded them here at the building, and put them on the shelves. So he came and spent about 4 hours with us 6 times during the summer. Now, we get all of our food from the Tarrant Area Food Bank. It's located in Fort Worth, Texas. We go over there on Tuesday mornings and we pick up food. We load it in the trucks. We purchase this food for 3 cents per pound for the produce. Potatoes, carrots, onions, squash, whatever kind of produce they have, 3 cents a pound. We get canned goods and grocery items for 7 cents a pound. We get meat, frozen meat, and that can be anywhere from ribeyes, strip steaks, ground meat, cut up chicken, whole chicken, and that's 18 cents a pound. So you can see why we want to go over to the food bank to buy food. It is reasonably priced. Last year, we used 91,000 pounds of food. The last 11 months, we have distributed 91,000 pounds of food. It cost us, it has a retail value of $110,101.02. It cost us $14,500. I think that's taking the Lord's money and using it wisely. Where can you spend $14,000 on food and get $100,000 worth of food? Only through the food bank can you do something like that. Last year we served the last 11 months, we have served 1,749 family units. This is not people, this is family units. Some of the families had 6 people, some of the families are single, some of them are just 2 or 3. But we served, like I say, almost 1,800 families. Now, if you're trying to do math real quick in your head, that works out to about 51 pounds per family unit at a cost of $8.25. That's not bad for 50 pounds of food, giving them out to the families. The next is the Texas Neighborhood Services. This is a group we partnered with just here recently. These folks will take care of the people who knock on our church door here and say, I need money for gasoline. I need money for medicine. I need money for rent. I need money for utility bills. We refer them down the street. They're in the 100 block of North Main, right behind Compass Bank. So it's very easily walking distance from the church here. The next group that we are involved with is Ministerial Alliance. You see the name Weatherford Police Department there. They administer this work. This is a work where we donate a few dollars a year to this group, and it's administered by the police department, and they provide housing for those in need in an emergency basis, generally a one-night stay. If it's a special need, they can go up to 3 or 4 days or 3 or 4 nights at a motel. They have a contract with one of the local motels. So they administer those. If they walk up to our building and don't have any transportation, they will send a black and white unit, pick them up, and take them to the motel. And then pick them up and take them wherever they need the next day. That's a work that we're involved with the police department. The next one is the Senior Center. This is over here off Highland Lakes area. These people provide and cook the Meals on Wheels program. You'd be surprised how many people sitting right here help deliver the Meals on Wheels around the city and work with this group. So now you think you can see that we have quite a few members involved. These are things that we need to be doing. These are people we need to be helping. We're still growing. This morning I want to give the congregation a challenge. We're only open 2 days a week, Mondays and Thursdays from 9 till noon. There is a group of people in our city that need help but can't make it during those time frames. And we need to give them the opportunity to avail themselves of what we're doing. To do that, we need more workers. Right now, we probably have about 40 people working in the group, in the program right now today. We need 25 more people. 25 more of y'all right here. That'll give us 2 hours a month to open on a third day. That third day would be Saturday morning. There's a lot of single parent moms out there that work and can't avail themselves of this. Their children need help. A single mom today generally is a working poor person. They're just barely getting by. We can help them if we can get 25 people to give us 2 hours once a month on Saturday morning from 9 till 11. I understand that there's some things on Saturdays that y'all have to get done too. But in a congregation this size, we should be able to get 25 people. Now, I made a mistake this morning. I did not bring the sign-up sheet. But I bet if you'll go over there, Jerry back there will have a piece of paper you can sign. He can turn the piece of paper over back there, and at that counter back there this morning by the kitchen, go back there and print your name on there and put your phone number, and we will contact you. Because this is the work we need to get started pretty quickly. In closing this morning, I know I have not talked about the gospel of Christ. I have not mentioned that there's probably those this morning with us that have not put on Christ in baptism. This morning is the perfect time to do that. This morning is the perfect time to say, I want to serve God. I want to serve Christ. If there's a need in your life where you need prayers this morning, now is a good time to take care of that. If you choose not to make it a public affair, over here in this room, after the services in the library, there will be 2 elders there that will meet with you and talk with you and pray with you. And if you're looking for a congregation that wants to work, or looking for a congregation that's working, you found one. We would love to have you to join with us in working for the Lord and to place your membership with us. So if we have any needs that we can assist you with this morning, we ask that you come at this time as we stand and sing.